Hi guys, it's Sandy with Urban Rebel Designs. Just wanted to hop on for a few minutes and share a little bit with you about a project that I have going on. I am going to be making a coat rack out of this old level. It doesn't have a brand name on it, so I know it's not a Stanley, but it no longer has any fluid in here, so it doesn't work. Picked it up probably at a yard sale or found it in some old junk, and I'm going to turn it into a cute little coat rack. So I found these handles at, I think I got them at Hobby Lobby, and they look like the handles that go on the hose faucet that's outside, and that's what I'm going to use for my hooks for my coat rack. So hi Donna, we're going to get started. I'm going to make it because this wood is so dry. Being in New Mexico, wood dries out very quickly, so I just cleaned this up, and I'm gonna be putting this probably in a little boy's nursery, so I'm gonna make it look a little bit rusted and crusted, and bear with me because it's the Cinderella effect. It's gonna look really bad before it looks really good. So I'm starting out with the 2-inch Dixie Belle flat brush, and I just misted it with water. The colors that we're using tonight are Barn Red, the Gulf, which is my favorite color, and Limeade. And we're gonna age it a little bit, so I'm not gonna be super careful with how I paint it. I'm just gonna get this coat on as best I can, and it doesn't have to be fully covered because we're going to go back and sand some of it back, wet distress some of it back, because we want it to look really, really aged, but we wanted some color on it. And I thought the Barn Red was a good color because, as you can see, it perfectly matches my handles. So I'm just going to continue on with this. When you hop on, say hello and tell me where you're from. If you like, share, and comment on this video, hi Lynn, then you will be entered for a chance to win an 8-ounce jar of paint, your choice of color. I highly recommend the Gulf, or Rebel Yellow, wonder why. So here, and seriously, this took no paint at all. We have our first coat, and it took, I have that much left. So the next color that we're going to go on, I'm going to try to get this a little bit drier before we put our next layer on. Bear with me. For this one, I am using the Oval Medium Dixie Belle synthetic brush. I love these brushes. But I always mist my brushes before I put them in paint, and especially when I want to do a chippy peely look like this, then I'll wet it just a little bit extra so I can thin the paint out some. Do we have a question?
Was that Barn Red?
This is Barn Red. It's Barn Red, the Gulf, and Limeade. So our second color is going to be the Gulf. And notice I didn't give it a whole lot of time to dry. It's fine. But we're just going to go over it with some of the Gulf. And you all will see. I need a little bit more water. Why, this is my favorite color. I usually do lives for Dixie Belle on Wednesday nights, but this week I'm on Tuesday because there's a very special guest tomorrow night. I don't want anybody to miss it. This guy is awesome. I think I've found a new hero. It is Andy from Andy's Chairs. If you haven't seen him, look it up. He does amazing work. And I'm so excited to be able to get to see him tomorrow night. So tune in, same bat time, same bat channel. And I just have a little bit more of the Gulf to do. And I'm sorry I'm not looking at comments very much because I'm trying to get this on without it drying too much. And now I'm gonna switch over, and for this one, because I just want a little bit, I'm using the Dixie Belle. This is a 1-inch flat. This is great for tight spaces or when you just want to apply paint to certain areas. So our first coat was Barn Red. Our second coat was the Golf, which is a gorgeous color. And our third coat, and I've still got a couple of wet spots, but is gonna be Limeade, and it's just gonna be really light and really random. I thought if I put the Limeade under the Golf, when we sanded it back, it might not show up as much as I would like. But I also don't want it to overpower. So I'm just not, it's not really even a dry brush. I'm just dabbing some of my paint off and then lightly coating it. And this is the Cinderella spot. Do we have another question?
But a couple of questions about your mister bottles.
Okay, this is a continuous spray mister bottle. A lot of the Dixie Belle retailers sell these. It is not a Dixie Belle product yet. Hint, hint, Dixie Belle. These things are amazing. So with a regular spray bottle, it sprays in a stream. This, you can't see it on camera real well, but it sprays a mist. And it's also a continuous spray. I'm trying not to make a mess here, but it will spray for a long time as long as you hold the trigger down. So I cannot live without my continuous spray bottle. I'm just gonna let this dry a little bit more. Let's see if we can fan it. And then we're gonna sand it back so some of all three of the colors show. And then I may go over the top of it with some Voodoo Gel Stain or some Gator Hide. I'm working on a black dining room set right now, so I had to Gator Hide, and here's a hint for you. If you need to put Gator Hide on a dark color and you think that it's looking like it's streaking, it's not really, but put just a little bit of paint, and I mean just a drop of paint, in your Gator Hide, and then top coat it, and that will take care of that issue. So I have a little bit mixed up here. We may use it. We're going to see how it starts to look when we sand. So there are two ways to do this. You can either wet distress or dry distress. To wet distress, I just get these green scrubby pads that you can get at Dollar Tree. You can get them at Home Depot, but why pay that much? And then I'm just gonna mist my pad, make sure that it's not drippy wet, and then we're just going to rub over it. The theory behind this, oh, can you see how this is coming up? Look at this. See the red coming through? And as we go down, more of the Golf is coming through. Can you see that? Okay. This is a really cool way to distress. When you're doing it this way, just keep in mind that you are re-injecting water into a water-based product that has not had time to cure. So you have to be really careful and not over-distress with this. Oh, I'm loving this. Or you can dry distress, and I'm just using a Dixie Belle sanding sponge. And this makes a little bit of noise. If this noise bothers you, just turn your sound down. But with the Dixie Belle sanding sponge, we're just going over it. And I did these side by side so you could see the difference. So I'll hold it up. Right here is where I did the wet distressing, and right here is where I did the dry. So now I have a decision to make, and I really think I'm liking the wet better. Do you all like the wet or the dry? Hi, Natalia. So I'm just gonna finish this. I need a little bit more water. Just gonna finish this up really quick, and we'll take a look at it and see need to top coat or if we want to use some of the gel stain. I like to use the gel stain over stuff like this to give it a little bit more of an aged look. Do we have another question?
No, we have, several comments for the wet distress.
They like the wet best?
Yes.
Cool. I'm gonna try this. Okay, so I did a little bit of wet, and my wood is still damp, and my paint is still damp. So now I'm just taking the Dixie Belle sanding sponge and knocking just a little bit more of it back. So this is what we have now. And as you can see, if I can hold this up, with one of our little knobs that we're using for hooks, it's gonna be super, super cute. But I think that we will, I think I'm gonna use some of the gator hide and caviar that I have mixed up. I have it saved here. Caviar is our blackest black paint. And all I'm gonna do is, my sponge is damp, so I'm gonna squeeze it and make sure that nothing drips out of it. And I'm just gonna dip it in here and wipe it off. If you've worked with gator hide before, you know it takes very little. That's one thing I love about it. And I'm just gonna start adding just a little bit. A little bit more on my sponge. So adding it to the gator hide like this, adding the caviar, it really softens. Oops, I just dropped my whole sponge in there. Oh well, I have another one. It helps to give it an aged look, and where these colors were really bright in the beginning, it's gonna severely tone them down, and this will be beautiful in a nursery or a little boy's room or a little girl's room. I thought about putting some glitter on it, and my husband said no. Who doesn't like a little glitter? Okay, so there we have it with the gator hide with the caviar paint mixed in. And again, I'm gonna tell you, if you do this, if you mix paint in with your gator hide, just mix a little bit. It doesn't take a whole lot. You just really want to tint it. So now we're going to take, just so you can see what it's gonna look like, I'm gonna take my knob, and we're gonna see if I can do this. That's not gonna go on. So I have a nut and a washer that have to go in this pre-drilled hole. And it's not, there we go. And I'm just gonna tighten this down a little bit. Now keep in mind that my gator hide and my paint are still a little bit damp. And again, as with anything, there's a 30-day cure time. So this may be dry to the touch in about 10 minutes, but it's gonna take it about 30 days to fully cure. So you can knock it around and whatever, and there went my nut. But I'm gonna try to show it to you this way. So I have space for 4 of these, and isn't that an adorable little coat rack? Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow night when Andy of Andy's Chairs will be here. I'm so excited to see him. I'm Sandy with Urban Rebel Designs in Aztec, New Mexico. Thanks. Bye.